Some people hate brown, yeah, but I think chocolate, caramel, gingerbread, coffee. I love brown. So a full coloring page with all browns. Let's go. Hey people, it's Temi. If you're new here, it is browns time. I have been so excited for this. I'm gonna go through all the shades, going from the beige to the taupe, to the caramel, to the, what else is there? Coffee brown, to the walnut brown, to the chestnut. I'm excited. So let me find all of my brown markers. I'm going into my massive 320 Ohuhu set as usual. Looking on the swatch cards, there's some browns over with these yellows, and the majority of the browns / nudes are in this neutral kind of section. That one is leaning more to pink, but let's see. Most of them are in this top quadrant, while we've got some others dotted in some other bits. So I'm just gonna grab all the browns that I can see. There's some that I'm really having to compare with the swatch card because, as you guys already know, the cap barely ever actually matches the ink. So this swatch card is imperative for me. And here are all of our browns. Guys, how gorgeous is this selection? I hope my video doesn't get demonetized because look at these nudes. Brown is a neutral, natural color. It really gives warmth and security. It has a very organic and wholesome feeling to it. But since it's a dark color, of course it's got some negative connotations as well, like feelings of loneliness, sadness. So there's really a lot to explore. Obviously beige is light brown, but it's also got cues of gray and yellow. It's a very calm color that just gives cozy, warm vibes. And I'm including all of this in the spectrum of brown I'm looking at today. Going straight into my coloring book, I'm using the Ems Drawing coloring book as usual, and my supplies are always linked down in the description. But here is our lady from last time. Look at her. She is absolutely stunning. I'm gonna call her Sage Olive, so thank you so much for the suggestions. Those names definitely stood out to me this week. But for today, going straight back into the thumbnail page, and oh my gosh guys, I cannot believe we have nearly filled this page. So it's between this one and that one. And for the browns and the warmth, I am definitely feeling this one. Before we get into the thumbnail page, I want to give you a little bit of behind the scenes of how I actually plan my coloring book monochromatic spreads. Previously, I've just gathered inspiration images to help give me an idea for lighting for the face and as a basic starting point for some of the flowers on the page. But this time, I want to go even deeper with the research phase. Because with brown, I just feel like there's so many different angles and I want to be able to brainstorm all of this together. I've told you guys many times, I have aphantasia, so I can't conjure up images in my mind. So I can never go into any of these without any planning. So when Milano reached out with their tool for visual planning, you know I had to check it out. And guys, if you have projects to plan, you're going to love this. Here's what my project board looks like. You've got to-do lists, a place for your mood board. I use this for initial ideas just to get the juices flowing, how different shades of brown work together, and just as a place for initial idea generation. Then I'm going into more detail with the design ideas. With this one, I'm just using it to get a little bit more specific. And I'm just using all of this just to give me an idea of what direction to actually start going in. And now that I've got a starting point, I can go ahead to play with the thumbnail page. And you don't have to go this hard with your coloring pages. This tool is so useful for so many different project types. Like I need to make over my office and I already have a board set and all of that out. Milano is available for free, so don't walk guys, run. I just love sharing things that I find useful and I also think you will enjoy. Sign up using the link in my description box and start your next creative project. And now let's put all of this together for the thumbnail page. I'm going back into my Milano mood board and I'm definitely feeling the vibe of this one. A medium dark skin, kind of portraying a mixed race lady with a lightish background, light flowers. So I'm gonna try that out on the thumbnail page. First, I'm putting this piece of card to lean on because as you guys know, it always bleeds through. Like look at the print of all of the others that I've done. And now for the coloring. I'm going straight in with the brown for the skin, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm nervous. When am I not nervous? But honestly, this brown page, I know I was excited for brown. Browns and neutrals are just one of my favorite colors. But in terms of a whole page using just brown, how do you stop it from looking like poo? Do you know what I mean? I feel like it can go towards a really weird, muddy direction too quickly. So that's where my nervousness comes in. But I think this is a great color for her skin. And now for the dress, I'm filling it with this darker brown. As I'm coloring this, I'm just realizing, is this meant to be a crop top? Anyway, I'm just gonna do it as a dress, and I have this idea of doing like a pattern. And guys, please trust the process, trust me on this. I just think a little bit of texture will just bring it, you know, to the next level. And if you watch any of these coloring book videos, you know that I would typically leave the dress white. Sometimes I'll do small print, but I would typically not do too much. And I think that's why today I really have the bravery to go for it with this brown. And now for the flowers, I'm still going off of the idea of having some lighter tones. So I'm using some of the lightest browns for the first bits of the flowers. But of course, I need a good variety. So going straight in with one of the deepest browns. And I'm also trying to mimic the pattern on different points of the page so that it just all comes out kind of balanced. Also being a little bit experimental with, you know, dots, patterns. None of these are meant to mimic real flowers, by the way. And for this iris looking kind of flower, I had two reference photos I was using for this. One had the deeper brown with the lighter bits in the middle, and the other, it was more white with then the deeper brown outside. I'm really not sure how I feel about it, and I need to decide which one I'll actually do for the end. But for the back, I've gone for this quite light shade. It's definitely leaning more to cream, and I'm not sure how I feel about this, I'm gonna be honest. This whole page is kind of stumping me, and I think I just need to go ahead, apply different colors on different parts of the page, and let's see how it turns out. Normally on the thumbnail page, I'm not putting too much pattern, too much depth, but honestly, I feel like I need it for this one. As I'm going through, I'm frequently referring back to the swatch page. I feel like I'm missing some medium shades, so I'm trying to dot them all around the piece. And now I'm hitting the leaves. Honestly, guys, this is looking chaotic, and I want to say trust the process, but I don't know if I trust the process. And that's why I love this thumbnail page. It's a great place to experiment with things. I'm not sure how many of these ideas I will keep for the actual real thing, so you'll have to stay tuned to the end to see how it turns out. But the deepest color I've used for some of the leaves, I'm not really sure it's working, I'm gonna be honest. Some of these browns are giving orange, some are giving yellow. It's no longer feeling like a neutral calm page. It's giving chaos, and I'm low-key wanting to give up. And now for the hair. This stomped me for a long while, and please, I know this looks crazy, but I'm trying to go gradually deeper with each color, because with markers you can't just go in with the deepest colors like I'd normally want to. So I'm starting with the highlight color, which is giving more like a yellow cream kind of color, and then I'm going in with the midtones, which is more of that mid brown, and then I'm going in with some of the shadows. And the idea behind this hair is so that it just looks super shiny, and if I had coloring pencils I'd obviously be able to use it. But here is what the thumbnail page is looking like, and guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it one bit. I feel like it just looks a bit blech. Like, look at her mates on the page, everyone's looking cute and extra with their color, and this brown is just meh. So after a quick break, I'm now gonna head to the main coloring. This blank page is definitely giving me a clean slate. Like, sis is looking angelic, so I'm ready to dive in. Taking some of the ideas from the thumbnail page, but also not depending too much on them. One thing I was happy with though was the skin. So let me start with the face. And already I cannot color in the lines, but you already know I'm going to use a white pen towards the end, so I will definitely fix that slip up. I've started with the mid-tone, and then I'm adding some shadows, some contours. I'm trying to create the illusion of light coming from the left side, so I'm trying to go strong and deep with the shadows on the right side. And honestly, this step always freaks me out because markers typically dry lighter. It's like they do an instant oxidization. So it always looks crazy, it always looks like it's not blending properly, but that's definitely momentous. And now for the arm. I've started with her right arm, but honestly, you guys know I have aphantasia. I don't know how to imagine shadows that are not there. So I'm using my own arm as a reference, and it's just given me a vague idea of how to capture these shadows. So I'm going in with the initial mid-tone color that I used for the base. And I've been careful to leave the palms because if you didn't know, now you know. Black people, people of color, typically would have lighter palms than the rest of their hand and arm. So I've left a significantly lighter color, but I'm also going in to try to blend it out a little bit so that it doesn't look so harsh, and also trying to add small details with the knuckles and the other parts of the arm. And honestly, I feel like I've gone a bit deeper with her skin than I intended to, but I'm not mad at it. And now for the dress. I'm starting by trying to outline around the hair, but I'm just realizing, was this not a crop top? So I'm just going to go around everything pretending it is a crop top and seeing how I feel about that. For me, it feels like a bit of an awkward position if it was a crop top. Like, really imagine skin there. I don't know, it just feels a little bit off for me. So I'm just going to illustrate it as a dress like I did on the thumbnail page. And for markers, you have to be careful to work on it when wet, because I was outlining some of those flowers at the bottom. When I went to fill in the rest of it, you can see that now it leaves like a weird streak. And that's not the best, but I'm not mad at it for this dress. And now I'm going into the shadows. Starting with the main creases and the folds of the bottom of the dress, and then the poofs. And now for the main bit of the dress. I'm sure you were praying and hoping that I wasn't going to do the same thing I did, but here I am. One thing about me, and if you're familiar with any of the other videos on my channel, I love to experiment. These colouring book videos are not do or die. It's not by force to keep it simple. This is my chance to try something new, because really, who will beat me? So I'm doing the same pattern, and now I'm going in with the deepest colours just to bring in the darkest shadows to really elevate the contrast of the dress, and also putting a little bit of shadowing for where the hair hits the dress. And now I'm doing a second layer of this ruffle pattern. Honestly, I don't even know what it's called. Ruching maybe, and I'm really loving how this is coming out. Like, this looks so intentional. This texture is just so fun to create. Now it's background time. I'm sure if you're familiar with these videos, you're thinking background time already. Yes, your girl is absolutely stumped. The last thing I want to do is to leave the background until after I'm not happy with some of those flowers. So I'm using washi tape all around the edges so that I can get a nice clean edge for my background. So I'm definitely going to change up the colour of the background. And I'm almost back to the drawing board with this background, because that initial colour, I don't know how I feel about it. So I'm going to try this other colour. And it feels a little too deep. So now I'm considering this other one, which feels a little lighter. It might be just exactly what I need. And on the video, I can see that you might not be able to tell properly, but here it is side by side, and I think I see a difference. So I'm gonna go ahead with this second shade. The background colouring stage is usually the most therapeutic part. I'm just trying to fill this page and go around every single flower, and yes, I used the bullet nib side for this. Usually my hands are in agony after this, but now that I'm seeing this colour all around the page, I think this is the perfect colour for the background. It really complements the skin colour I chose, but I think it will also work well to contrast with the flowers when I get around to doing them. And now for the part that I'm arguably the most scared about, the flowers. I'm starting with this flower that I really wanted to keep mostly white, but I wanted to add small shadowing, but I'm realizing that I picked the wrong color, because is this not looking pink? Compared to the browns of the background, it's definitely leaning way too close to pink, but I'm just gonna use this other brown to add small shadowing, and then we can move on. I definitely experimented with every single flower on this page, because brown flowers are really not a thing. I mean, there are some brown flowers obviously, but it was definitely guesswork, always starting with the lightest colors and then just adding lines for details, going gradually deeper and trying to get an overall really good contrast. Sometimes I just went straight in with the deepest colour, and honestly this is always so nerve-wracking, but this one is meant to have a really cute white outline, so wait for the white pen stage to see how it turns out. But when I was mimicking the same design on these other two flowers, I went with a slightly lighter color and then went in with the shadows, and I think that worked slightly better. For the irises, I decided to go with the darker variation of it instead. So I'm going in with the lighter shade first and then kind of layering with the more reddy kind of brown and then the deepest brown. And I really like how that turned out. I think it's a really cute effect. So I'm happy with it for this piece. For the leaves, the color I chose for the thumbnail page was an absolute shambles. So I've gone for this one instead, and I think this provides a good balance for the piece, but also overall just complements a lot of the flowers on the page. And of course, I'm going in with the deeper color for some of the shadowing, for small detail. Looking at the whole page now from afar, I'm really not mad at how it's turning out. The only thing is, some of these flowers, that the ones I said at the start were looking pink, they are definitely giving pink. Everything else is, you know, some sort of variation of brown, and then you've got peach. It is not it. For some of the flowers, I really focused on an outline kind of look, so leaving the middle of it white. And I'm also going to go in a bit deeper with the outline, just to add a little bit more contrast. And I'm not going to lie to you, all I can look at are these irises. I think they are stunning. I hope they're irises. You guys know I don't know my flowers. This pink peach flower is distracting me too much, and the perfectionist in me just had to do something about it. So I'm just covering it with brown. And it's a completely different direction from what I initially intended. Like I mentioned, I wanted it to be more white with a little bit of shadowing, but now it's just gotta go. So I'm going in even deeper, just trying to add a good amount of contrast and then going in with the deeper shadows. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I prefer this way more. I'm quickly filling in the lips because it is my favorite time of all time. It is the white pen stage. You guys already know, my absolute favorite time. With all of these flowers, it's about to level up. I hope you guys are ready, because I wasn't ready myself and I was the one doing it. So I'm just adding small highlights, small highlight. With every single petal, I'm just changing the idea, the design, and it just gives it that extra oomph. I really love the white pen stage because I feel like it really makes it stand out. It almost goes to the next level. And honestly, if you don't have a white pen, I don't know why. If you want good recommendations, all my supplies are linked down in the description box and in my Amazon storefront. But the white pen stage is my absolute favorite time. I just love it. And for the lips, initially I was going to go simple with a simple gloss, but I just thought, give me deep brown glossy lipstick. That's what I want to do, because you already know I don't play games. I'm here to experiment. And on first impression, I'm thinking, what have I done with this lipstick? It's looking crazy. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I absolutely love it. I just feel like it's making her look so edgy. And now I really want to keep her hair white. I really want to keep it as light as possible. So I'm just going in with smooth shadowing, going with some of the lightest colors, gradually getting deeper, adding small strands, giving it a platinum blonde kind of look, a blonde hair moment. I am here for it. And that's it. Here is how she turned out, guys. Please tell me what we should name her down in the comments. I absolutely love our neutral Nubian queen. She came out stunning. Shout out to my patrons. I love you guys so much. If you love this one, you love to see me color in the green lady from the start of the video.